this will sell less than the electric, more than the electric. Logically, it seems it should. But we learn by experience that marketing can be very counterintuitive. What you expect never happens, and what you don't expect actually happens. So it would be speculative to say that, yes, it will do this or it will do that. But what we can say is, if it does very well, we are there to take advantage of the opportunity. And if it doesn't matter, because not everything works. We will move on to something else. So time will tell, is the short story.
Hi, Shirley from Economic Times. We'd like to know how much have you invested in developing this technology, and how many patents have you filed?
We have a number of patents that we've done. I don't want to give the exact number, but somewhere close to about 3 to 4 is already in the final stages for us. There are numerous things which are related to the packaging, the technology of how things work together, how we are able to switch fuels, how we have certain things like ISG on this one. It has not been talked about, but this vehicle doesn't have a starter motor. It just comes to life when you touch a button. It's got automatic shift over fuels. So for example, if your gas level in the tank goes down, it will switch over automatically to gasoline. And once in every few days, for a little time, the engine runs on gasoline, then goes back to CNG. It does everything to intelligently to do certain things, So there's a lot of patents around that.
In terms of investments, again, that's not a question that customers are interested in. It's something that competition would be more interested in. So I will request you through your medium of Economic Times, please inform our competition that we have invested too much Money in this. It is not worth their while to invest. I don't recommend it. You guys are actually awake, finally. Sir को माइक दीजिए. जी sir. While we are getting a mic in the front, okay, Geeta, go ahead. Then we can get a mic here, please, to sir over here. Sir.
So I just wanted to ask you, will a motorcycle buyer be similar to a 3-wheeler or a 4-wheeler buyer who shifted to CNG for economic reasons or something? Or is a motorcycle buyer very different? What will hold them back from making that shift?
So, certainly most of the 3-wheeler buyers they use it for commercial purpose. But the underlying phenomena which makes a person shift from, let's say, a diesel or a petrol to CNG is the economics of it, the savings. The 3-wheeler driver feels that savings very, very sharply because they drive around a little bit more. But the individual buyer who's using it for personal, and a lot of the personal use is also semi-commercial in the sense that a lot of tradesmen, people are going to, using it for work. They also shift for the same reason, because the savings is almost 50% in the fuel bill. So I would say in that respect, we do not see any difference between a 3-wheeler buyer or a 2-wheeler buyer. Both are very, very sensitive to fuel economy, and they will behave in a similar manner. Yes, to some extent, the ease with which the CNG is available, they'll have to go to a different kind of a filling station than what they're used to. Those are the aspects which we will discover as we go along.
And as far as...
Sorry, Geeta, but I'm going to tell you a very interesting story, but you have to not distort it when you put it out. Because sometimes most of the time you people do this, and then I get into trouble because of that. So see, you don't have to compare with the 3-wheeler. As I was saying earlier, what happened in the 90s with the scooter and motorcycle is simply this, that from a 40 km per liter scooter, people went to a so-called 80 km per liter motorcycle. That means the fuel bill was halved. The proposition today is exactly the same, that we will halve your fuel bill. Now we are not saying freedom is only about that. As we have tried to present, freedom is a very good looking motorcycle, it has a lot of implications, as Sarang said, on society, on planet, etc., etc. So there are many other good things about it. But from the point of view of your question, it does exactly the same thing again. So the favor that Hero Honda did to us in 1993, 30 years later, we want to return the favor to Hero Honda. And the story I want to tell you is a true story, of 1997 or 98. I am not exactly sure. And this is what happened. A dealer friend of mine called up and said that Brijmon Lalji, who was at that time the big boss, the chairman at Hero Honda, and who was a wonderful man, who I also, if I may say so, knew well, and I think he was quite fond of me. He came to my wedding, for example, and I spent a lot of time with him. So there was a dealer conference of Hero Honda dealers, and this might be interesting just to share with you today. And at that time, because this movement had started from 93, away from the Bajaj scooter towards the Hero Honda motorcycle. And in 4 years' time, if you go back and look at your data of 97-98, you will see that that is the year in which Hero Honda actually overtook Bajaj in the domestic market in terms of two-wheeler numbers. So that's a significant event when a leader is overtaken and a new leader comes into place. And this, I'm told in that dealer conference of Hero Honda, all the Hero Honda dealers were, obviously ecstatic, and they were congratulating their chairman, Brijmon Lalji, on this achievement. And our dealer friend, my friend, he called me and he said that aisa hua is meeting mein, and Brijmon Lalji said to all his dealers that, look, now you have to be careful because now the tiger is wounded. This is 1997. So the message of freedom 30 years later is that tiger zinda hai.
Rajiv, this is Adil here. The minister was all praised for your efforts and whatnot. Don't you think that you have given him an unwitting opportunity to hike prices of CNG and make a killing on your behalf?
Where are you, Adil? I can't see you. Sorry, I missed the last little bit.
I said your success, in fact, emboldens him to make a killing by firing off your shoulder and hiking prices of CNG. Governments are prone to do this,
Arey, how many ministers have fired from my shoulder? He's the next one only in the line. There's nothing new about this. Ministers are always firing from the shoulders of business people only. So there's nothing new about it.
So I think that are you suggesting that the competition also gets into this groove so that the minister can make more money?
No,
or rather government can make money?
No. Jokes apart.
Yeah.
See, Gadkari ji has been very clear about one thing for many years now, that I want to put an end to petrol and diesel. Now, we may not agree with that literally.
Thank heavens for that.
We may not agree with that literally for the benefit of petrol heads like you, but we have to accept, as I tried to say in my address, that we have to do what we can in the interest of clean air. There's no running away from that. And when we can find a solution, which is not just a cut and dry, boring solution, I hope you will agree that this is a very nice looking motorcycle, a desire. Forget the fact it's a CNG. It's a great motorcycle even otherwise, for all the other reasons that we have described. So if we can combine that with something that is good for the environment, good for the planet, why not? And as far as CNG is concerned, I'll tell you a little secret. Gadkari ji said, I don't know whether you caught it, he said in his speech that I want Rajiv to price this at 1 lakh of rupees, something like this. And actually, it was not a surprise for me, because I got news of this yesterday, because I also have got my spies in his office.
That's good.
So I got news yesterday that he may put some such pressure on us. So as you can see, Sarang was more than prepared. He beat it by 5,000 rupees. 95,000 rupees is the starting price for the CNG motorcycle. But you can be sure, and you will read about it when I speak about it, that we have also asked for the government to meet us halfway on this. You know, it's not a one-way traffic. We are putting our best foot forward. As somebody said at the back, we are, taking the risk, making the investment. There is no supply in some places. We are creating demand so that supply can come in. I will reiterate the demand I made here, maybe 2 or 3 months back when we met for the Pulsar 400Z. Well, I won't call it a demand, I would call it a suggestion, that the government should seriously review GST rates for clean fuels. Just as they have done, I think, the right thing with the 5% GST for electric. And I would repeat again for everybody's information that if the major two-wheeler markets in the world, Adil, as you know, in ASEAN and LATAM, if the equivalent of GST is only 8 to 14%, and almost without exception, the GDP per capita is equal to or higher or much higher than India. So the Aam Aadmi of India is the one who can afford the least out of Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brazil, etc. Then what is the logic? What is the rationale? What is the justification for 28% GST? I just don't see it on a two-wheeler of this kind. I mean, a 1000cc motorcycle, 1 liter bike is a different subject. So my plea to the minister will be that we will meet you halfway with 1 lakh rupee price tag. You please meet me halfway with 12% GST. पर अभी क्या है, वो जब बोलते हैं ना, then he says वो तो finance minister. अभी I don't have any finance minister. I mean, my finance minister also here. Dinesh is here somewhere. But fortunately, he has to do what I say. But in government, it doesn't happen like that.
You have also got the world's first dual drinking motorcycle. You said don't mix drinks, but here this is a very positive aspect of that.
No, I was just kidding, saying that one should not mix, one should not lose sight of focus of one's core competence and one business. So our business is a business of motorcycles. As we say, we want to be the world's most versatile motorcycle company. We are not trying to be a CNG distribution company. So I don't think these people here should make motorcycles, and I don't think I should distribute CNG. I mean, it's as simple as that.
So, I'm Sanjay from GAIL, and planning to market in next 9 months of this financial year, first one. Secondly, the cylinder is only 2 kg, that's what we heard. So what are the considerations? Why could it not have been 3 or 4 kg and thus making the range, something like 500 kilometers, and people would not need to go to CNG station for say next 10 days or 12 days, something like that. If you could please throw some light on this.
So, as you can see, a motorcycle is a very compact product. On it, the beauty comes out of the functional parts, which are designed to look very nice. Here, we've tried to look at 2 aspects. One is to give the person a peace of mind that there is also a second fuel available in the case that you can't find a fuel bunk in time. The fuel tank for the CNG is a heavy part. This tank, for example, would weigh you almost about 16 kilograms just to have the tank for 2 kilograms. And the pressure that is dispensed today is in the ballpark of 200 bar. I say ballpark of 200 bar because where it's pipeline, you can get 200 bar. But when you have it distributed by cylinder, by bullets, then the pressures go down to even maybe 180 bar at times, or even less than that. And this impacts the amount of fuel that you can put inside. On a motorcycle, to achieve its dynamics, we've been very careful to ensure that the position of the CG is very well taken care of. And this tank with 16 kilograms of tank weight and 2 kilograms of fuel, that is the gas inside it, takes you to about 18 kilograms, which is around the weight what I would have for a Pulsar for a gas tank filled with gasoline. So we've actually tried to be dynamically very good. And that's very important. One of the points that was raised is, will people buy it only for the reason of economy? We don't think so. We put so much on it to actually make it stand on its own feet in terms of whether it is the features, the comfort, the seat thing which has been spoken about, technology, everything has been looked at. And there is a compromise that has got to be struck. It's like saying, do you want to have a battery which is, 20 kilowatt hour, but then can't afford it because the tank is a very expensive piece. It's not just heavy, it's also very expensive. So we will into future do other things like lightweighting further when the costs come into place in control. For example, composites can be utilized to be able to go up. And we would request GAIL, for example, can you start dispensing gas at higher pressure than 200 bar? Can you give me 350 bar, for example? And I will put in a tank over there which can withstand the pressure. And then we'll have more range out of the same space.
Hello, hi sir, my name.
So, on how many we will sell, as we were discussing, we think that the addressable market is 650,000. If you give us the network, there is no reason why this market cannot be accessed. Yes, with this bike. Yes, with this bike. Because we have taken, let's say, the 100 to 125 cc universe. That is about 650,000 per month, all over the country. Now, 70% sort of coverage is there with varying depth. So immediately which we can address is almost 400,000. So you can see that it is a vast market. From our side, to begin with, we are starting with a 10,000 capacity in this first 2-3 months, which we will take up to about 30,000-40,000 within the financial year. One bottleneck which is there is the CNG tank, because that is a very new capacity which has to be come in. But once we start to read the market and how it is evolving, how the network is, how the behavior is changing, the capacity from our side will not be an issue.
Just one point and one request from our side. If at the CNG bunk you could have had a separate dispensing for two-wheelers, it would be fantastic. Because we have to fill up only 2 kgs. So it's very quick turnaround. So our request, please put an additional.
Hello sir, my name is Tanisha Arora. I'm an ex-journalist and now you can easily put me in the influencer community. I had a question regarding the third variant. What was the reason to introduce that at the price of 95,000 rupees? Was that because Mr. Gadkari asked you all to introduce a sub 1 lakh category, or do you think the cheapest will sell the highest in small cities?
I think we recognize that there is a large universe of 100cc buyers. I don't know whether it's right to say that they buy the cheapest motorcycle, but let's say they need to buy the most value for money, the most frugal motorcycle, because that's all that they can afford to buy. So they want, let's say, a very functional motorcycle at the least cost of ownership as a combination of capex and opex. So we felt that for this category of customers, and also for people that use it for delivery, etc., so a kind of commercial use almost, it would make sense to have a motorcycle at the least at the lowest price point possible. So we've tried to do that. It's to be honest, it's not an attractive price for us, because you can imagine that a typical 125cc motorcycle, and this is a 125cc motorcycle, a 125cc petrol motorcycle today, if you look at the prices, is typically around 90,000 rupees. And a CNG system with all its paraphernalia certainly costs much more than 3,500 rupees, because 3,500 rupees would translate to 5,000 rupees on the road. So if you are selling this at this point for 95,000, it's not the greatest price for us. But as I was explaining earlier, that when you do something new and you need to get your foot in the door, then for a while you need to make this kind of investment in the marketplace.
Can I come in?
So could you please elaborate on the full form of NG40?
Yeah, so I can tell you, where are you? I can't see you. Okay. So, yes, you can sit down, I can see you. So we were having a very interesting discussion, at one point, and we didn't know how to arrive at the nomenclature, because calling it CNG seemed, too mechanical. And I don't know whether our CHRO Ravi Kiran is here. I think he's on leave. So Ravi actually came up. So if you think, there is a lot of customer research and all, there is no such ज्ञान behind all this. हम लोग भी हमारी चाय पे चर्चा करके decision ले लेते हैं, So we just had a discussion and we felt, oh yeah, NG is very nice because it's CNG without being CNG, and incidentally it's next generation or new generation. So it just sounded nice. And then, the most opportunistic person in the organization is the CFO. So who's here? Dinesh is here. And he said, boss, ये तो बहुत अच्छा idea है. NG का NG हो गया, नितिन गडकरी का नितिन गडकरी हो गया. So now you can influence people with 3 ideas. CNG, natural gas, Nitin Gadkari. Whatever you want, you can say that.
We will take our last question.
So, I am Suresh Manglani from Adani Total Gas. I think there are a lot of issues that have also been raised here, but before I will try to address those concerns as well. But before that, let me compliment you, Rajiv, as well as the entire team Bajaj for doing a fantastic work. The way, we saw the kind of a motorbike cycle you have launched, beautiful motorcycle, the name which you have given, I think we can see on everything the way a lot of homework has been done. And another thing which, as a CGD industry, we feel, I think people used to many times tell us CNG is a fuel of past, EV is a fuel of future. But I think you have given a major boost to this brand CNG. Of course, you are calling it an NG, but you have given a big boost to the brand CNG.
हेलो सर, मेरे चैनल का नाम है बाइक पॉइंट बाय
friends in the audience, for our friends in audience, actually, they should know that now Government of India through regulator has already awarded licenses for entire Pan India, except 1 or 2, island, maybe Lakshadweep and all. And the licenses are around 35-40 CGD companies are there. Adani Total Gas, for example, we have licenses for 125 districts in India. And I can tell you today, all 125 districts have a CNG. It's not that any place, all of the places is a CNG available. I think many of us feel that there is CNG is only in urban areas. CNG is available in even the rural areas, in the villages, or the hinterlands, which people are calling it. CNG is spreaded around 6,000 or 6,000 plus CNG stations are there, and as you also said, there is a huge space which is coming up because government has also put minimum work program for each CGD industry, for each license, CGD entity. So when we take a license, we are committing number of stations which are to set up, and there is a connected financial implication for all of us if we don't set up. So we are with you, and we can assure you that we will fully reciprocate, as you said, that whether we will provide separate dispensing, we will do everything what is needed to make your initiative successful. Thank you.
Thank you. I must thank you all once again for coming and being with us through the day today. I must thank you for all the work you have already done, for which we have been beneficiaries, which are with our three-wheeler CNG, and for all the work that we will do together. Thank you in advance, in anticipation, for all of that. And thank you for your kind words about the motorcycle. And if you have a young son or daughter, you might want to buy one today and take it back.
I thought you say you will give a complimentary, but you still survive. Thank you.
हेलो सर, मेरे चैनल का नाम है बाइक पॉइंट बाय मिंटू एंड राहुल। और
सॉरी, थोड़ा क्लियरली आप ऐसे
मेरे चैनल का नाम है बाइक पॉइंट बाय मिंटू एंड राहुल। सबसे पहले तो आप पूरी बजाज टीम को ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं इस नए क्रिएटिव प्रोडक्ट के लिए, जो सभी कंपनियां मिलकर 2030 या 35 तक नहीं ला पाती, वो आपके जैसे लीडरशिप में ये प्रोडक्ट 2024 में आ गया। तो इसके लिए स्पेशली मिस्टर राजीव बजाज जी को ढेर सारी शुभकामनाएं। मेरा पहला सवाल ये है कि क्या ये बाइक जैसे स्टार्ट पेट्रोल से होगी, फिर सीएनजी पर चलेगी, या फिर सीएनजी पर हम डायरेक्ट स्टार्ट कर सकते हैं, मतलब फुली फ्रीडम हमें मिलेगी? पहला सवाल यह है। और दूसरा सवाल यह है सर कि क्या हम जैसे फ्यूचर में, जैसे ये फ्यूचर बाइक आपने दे दी, तो क्या हम फ्यूचर में जैसे एक ऐसा आउटलेट या एक ऐसा जैसे कोई संस्थान हो जिस पर बजाज की चार्जिंग और सीएनजी और पेट्रोल, मतलब बजाज के कस्टमर को स्पेशली सारी चीजें मिले? ये मेरे दो सवाल हैं।
पहले सवाल का आंसर ये है कि ये गाड़ी आप सीएनजी में चालू कर सकते हैं, इसे कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लो टेम्परेचर पे भी आप चालू कर सकते हैं, और फ्यूल जो पेट्रोल है वो सिर्फ बैकअप है, और आप जब चाहे स्विच कर सकते हैं इन दोनों के बीच में, चलते हुए, रुके हुए, जैसे भी मर्जी, इसमें कोई तकलीफ नहीं, टोटल फ्रीडम है।
जी जी। और दूसरा सवाल?
दूसरा सवाल का उत्तर तो एमडी साहब दे चुके हैं कि हम लोग मोटरसाइकिल बनाना और थ्री व्हीलर बनाना जानते हैं और वही हम करेंगे। तो ये चार्जिंग स्टेशन या फिलिंग स्टेशन, ये जो इकोसिस्टम है उस पे वो उस डायरेक्शन में नहीं जाएंगे।
सर, जो सवाल लेकर मैं जैसे अयोध्या से आया था कि जैसे सीएनजी बाइक है तो उसमें ये होगा वो होगा, लेकिन सर आपने सारे सवालों के जवाब तो प्रेजेंटेशन में ही दे दिए। जैसे 11 टेस्ट करवा दिए तो लोगों को सुरक्षा मिल गई और माइलेज मिल गई और सेफ्टी भी मिल गई, मतलब सब मिल गई। तो सर वो पेट्रोल पंप, सीएनजी पंप और चार्जिंग स्टेशन कब मिलेंगे?
तो अगर वो करने लगेंगे कि इसके बाद जो आने वाला है अगले साल और उसके बाद अगले साल जो आ रहा है उसमें विघ्न पड़ जाएगा। तो आप चाहते हैं कि हम अच्छे से अच्छी मोटरसाइकिल या थ्री व्हीलर बनाएं या उसमें कमजोरी नहीं आना चाहिए, इसीलिए वो डायरेक्शन में नहीं जाएंगे।
So friends, it seems we are done, but I will ask you for 2 minutes patience. I want to read you something from my phone. This is a message. One receives lots of messages from customers, but one does not often receive this kind of a message. So I want to share this with all of you. I received this message on 13th of May this year, and I will read it to you as it is. Dear Mr. Rajiv, greetings and trust you are doing good. This is Rajiv. So the one who is writing to me is also Rajiv only. This is Rajiv from Sikandrabad. 25 years ago, I had joined my first job and was looking for a two-wheeler to buy. I had only 2 criteria. It had to be a Bajaj and it had to be a 4-stroke vehicle. I do not remember if Legend was available then. Bajaj Caliber was chosen. I bought the bike on 29th of May 1999. In a few days, the bike will complete 25 years and I have decided to finally retire it. This bike continues to be my main mode of travel even now and still gives 60 plus mileage. I want to thank everyone at Bajaj Auto for the experience. A year ago, I was sure my next vehicle would be an EV. However, after reading about it, I am not so sure now. My primary concern being cost of replacing the battery every 6 to 8 years. I read about the CNG bike and it sounds exciting. The report mentioned it is going to be launched in a phased way in Hyderabad, Sikandrabad, not on the initial list. Also, it is absolutely new technology. Is it possible for you to share a likely timeline of launch here? So, we have launched today. Once again, thank you and apologies for any inconvenience due to this unsolicited mail. Best wishes, regards, Rajiv. I think this Rajiv is here somewhere. Come here. A great pleasure to meet you finally. I have not met him before this. I am seeing him for the first time. Very nice to meet you. Customers like this is the reason we do what we do. That is the bottom line of our business. Thank you very much. We are all very grateful. I don't know when this bike is coming to Hyderabad, but I want to tell you one more story, like I told Geeta one story. About 35 years back, when I was living here in the company, come here, Rajiv. When I used to live here in the company premises, Mother Teresa had come to our house. And as you would all know, she was very small, she was very thin, but she had a beautiful presence. And she had come to meet my father. And so all of us were there because it was Mother Teresa. And when we sat down, after some initial chit-chat, my father asked her that, Mother, why have you come to see me? And she said, I need an auto rickshaw. And he said, then for that you don't have to come here. You could have just told me, I would have made it available. Because there was a waiting period in those times. And then she had a mischievous smile on her face and she said, yeah, but I don't have money to pay for it. So I want it free, you know. So I will never forget how my father dealt with that request. He said to her that lots of people ask me to give a free scooter or free three-wheeler. And I tell them very honestly that I have never given a free vehicle to anybody in my life. So I don't want to change that.